Hey, congrats. Have you seen the show yet? Have you seen the piece yet, James?
Yeah. I've seen it, and it's something you're not going to want to miss. You get a little glimpse into James Harrison, off the football field.
So how did you
get a better understanding?
How did you get your first break? Like, what was your first big break, James?
To be honest with you, it was really probably Clark Hagan's breaking his hand, and
in Pittsburgh to open up his spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what got me back into, because I had been cut, like 4 times before that, did NFL Europe, all of that. And, I'm just sitting around waiting. And then, I done made my mind up that, if I don't get picked up this year, then, that's going to be it. Get a regular job like everybody else. And Clark Hagan, he breaks his hand, and they pick me up. And the rest is history, so to speak.
What was it like to be a member of the Rhine Fire, James Harrison, after you fought your way to the Steelers and then wound up with the Rhine Fire? What before the Ravens, they cut you? What was that like for you in Europe?
So what happened is I went to the Rhine Fire. I was allocated by the Ravens. Mm-hmm. So my first year, I was on practice squad with the Steelers. I made the active roster the next year. They cut me the next day. I sat around. Nothing happened. They picked me back up, cut me again. Then the Ravens picked me up in the offseason and allocated me to go to NFL Europe, where you do the developmental. So I went over there, and after I got back from that, the Ravens released me in a week because they needed to pick up a tight end. The crazy thing is, the tight end that they had picked up was Daniel Wilcox. I played with him in NFL Europe. So as I'm driving home, because they didn't release me, I get called in. I was just like, hey, it's a numbers thing. We need a tight end. Like, all right, whatever. So I'm driving home, and my phone rings. It's Daniel. Yo, bro, I got great news. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, I'm going to be there with you at the Ravens, man. They just picked me up. I'm like, oh. I'm like, well, at least I know what tight end they picked up, who they, released me for. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, they just released me to pick you up.
Wow. No kidding.
Yeah.
What a story that is.
Yeah, Daniel was there for about 4, 5, 6 years, something like that.
So then you get the big break because...
right. So after they released me, that's when Clark Hagan breaks his hand about a week before training camp. And really what it came down to is they needed an extra body, because it threw the numbers off when he couldn't prepare, practice, do anything. So when I got there, I wasn't thinking about making the Steelers roster. I was thinking about I need to go out here and put out the best tape that I can. And hopefully one of these 31 other teams will pick me up.
Well, that 2004 season was pretty big because they went ahead and they drafted a kid, out of Miami of Ohio. So they got a Kent State linebacker and a Miami of Ohio quarterback, and look out from there on out.
No, I was in 2002. I was undrafted in 2002. I was there 2 years before then.
Right, and then after the Rhine Fires, when you showed back up in Pittsburgh in 2004. Right?
Yes, sir.
What was that season like when Ben showed up? Because I remember that was our first full season we covered at NFL Network, James, and the conversation was, current, now freshly minted Hall of Famer Alan Faneca is like, yeah, I don't know why our whole season's in the hands of a rookie. And, I think there was a hurricane in Miami and you guys all got together and the rest is kind of history in that season. James, is my memory serve?
I was young into it, so I don't know exactly what they had going on there, but I mean, you really had a defensively built football team back then that had a good offensive line, and they ran the ball. So it was a good defense, and they ran the ball. And basically at that point in time, Ben was just managing. You had times where it's run, play action, and he'd hit them for huge yards, huge numbers. He would only pass maybe 20, 25 times a game, and he'd complete 60, 75% of those because they were so heavy into trying to stop that run because of how the offense was sorted that it gave him those great opportunities for play action passes.
James Harrison here on the Rich Eisen Show on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line right here on a busy Friday. And we'll get to the current day in a minute, but I do want to stroll down memory lane for your career. So that Super Bowl where you're trying to keep the Cardinals out of the end zone, hold them to just 3 before halftime. What happened on that play where you picked off Kurt? And did you think at some point, oh, my God, I'm still running during that interception,
Well,
James?
it was a max blitz. I was supposed to be blitzing, of course. Everybody knows the story. And I don't blitz, but I make sure I step at the tackle so that Lawrence Timmons can get through on that inside and make sure he gets pressure on the quarterback so he can't hold the ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 18 seconds left. I'm playing for the quick slant in because that's the closest thing to me. That's the closest thing I can affect. And as I do that and I drop, he just throws the ball to me. I'm looking like he's about to throw the ball, and he actually throws it to me. So as soon as I get the ball, I'm gone. But I'm fighting with Deshae Townsend for like 30 seconds or something, right? And as I look up, I'm like, holy hell, it's the Sea of Red jersey. I'm like, I ain't gonna make it. So we make it through the first little cluster. I jump over a guy, Whitley blocks the guy, jump over him. And at that point, I feel like I've been running for like the last 2 minutes or something, right? So I'm like, the clock is out of time. I have to make it. There's no way I cannot make it. All this will be for nothing. So, it was emotions of I'm gone as soon as I caught the ball, and then like, oh hell, I'm not gonna make it. And then, like you said, it was I gotta make it.
And then you made it. And
yes, we made it.
Well, I mean, Larry Fitzgerald was trying to track you down. I mean, he was just he was right there as well. And so, how did that play change your career? Do you think at all? Anything different because of that, James?
I got a better contract the next year.
That's a football life right there. Okay, so that helped you get the bank that you were looking for. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it helped me secure my future and the future of my children.
Okay. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.